I've spent the last 15 years in the engine room of institutional finance. I've managed multi-billion-dollar derivative life cycles, untangled complex swap reconciliations, and seen how the world's largest funds move capital with surgical precision. But for a long time, I had a secret. When I got home, my own finances were a mess. I was the classic high-income, low-wealth professional. I was making a great salary, but I was exhausted. I didn't want to track coffee receipts in a spreadsheet or debate which index fund to buy on a Tuesday night. So I did something radical. I stopped budgeting entirely. Instead, I took the most powerful systems from institutional treasury management and simplified them into a 3-step waterfall that now runs my life on autopilot. By the end of this video, I'm going to reveal the exact rule of 10 I use to decide when to stop saving and start aggressively deploying capital, a rule that finally ended my financial decision fatigue. Most personal finance advice is built for people who are trying to find an extra $100 a month. It's about restriction. It's about cutting back. But if you're a professional, if you're a senior analyst, a lawyer, or a senior vice president, your problem isn't that you're spending too much on lattes. Your problem is cash drag. You have a high-pressure job, a family, and maybe you're studying for certifications like the CFA. You have zero mental bandwidth left. This leads to what I call the leak. You make $10,000 or $15,000 a month, but at the end of the year, you look at your accounts and ask, where did it actually go? Statistics show that in 2024, nearly 36% of people earning over $250,000 a year in developed economies like the US and Australia were still living paycheck to paycheck. That isn't a math problem, it's a systems problem. In the institutional world, if a fund managed its cash the way most families do, manually moving money based on gut feeling, it would be insolvent in months. They don't use willpower, they use treasury systems. The concept I'm about to show you isn't new. It's based on the cash flow waterfall, a mechanism used in project finance and private equity for decades to ensure that creditors, operating costs, and investors get paid in a specific, non-negotiable order. Think back to the 2008 financial crisis. Why did some firms collapse instantly while others stayed liquid? It wasn't just about who had the most money, it was about who had the best reconciliation and sweep systems. The winners had automated sweeps that moved idle cash into productive assets the second it wasn't needed for operations. While it wasn't the sole solution, it definitely could have played a role in preventing the crisis. We're going to apply that same institutional finance logic to your bank account. We're going to stop budgeting and start routing. To build silent wealth, you need to segregate your capital into 3 distinct buckets. Most people fail because they keep their spending money and their investing money in the same digital pond. That's an operational nightmare. Let's look into these buckets. Bucket 1, the operating account, the engine. This is for your fixed, non-negotiable life costs. Mortgage, school fees, utilities. In my household, I use a dinner rotation system to even automate the grocery spend. This account should be funded on payday and then ignored. Bucket 2, the liquidity buffer, the shock absorber. In finance, we call this the cash reserve. This isn't for investing, it's for staying calm. Historic data from the 1970s inflationary period show that the people who survived weren't the ones with the most stocks. They were the ones who didn't have to sell their stocks at a loss because they had a 6-month liquidity buffer. Bucket 3, the deployment vehicle, the wealth builder. This is the most important part. This is where your surplus capital goes. This account is a one-way street. Money goes in and it only leaves to buy assets, stocks, property, or private equity. The magic happens when you set up automated sweeps. On the first of every month, your bank should automatically sweep everything above a certain threshold from bucket 1 into bucket 2 and then into bucket 3. The reason I call this the silent wealth is because true financial freedom for a professional isn't about having a flashy dashboard or trading crypto at 1 a.m. It's about freeing your mind from the noise of routines. It's about the system working so well that you don't have to think about it. When I look back at the Asian financial crisis of 1997, the families in Malaysia and Singapore who came out ahead weren't the ones who guessed the market bottom. They were the ones who had asymmetric systems. They had automated their accumulation so that they were buying assets through the crash without even realizing it. They weren't checking the markets. They were living their lives while their systems did the work. I promised you a rule that would end your decision fatigue, and here it is. The rule of 10. Most people ask, how much should I save before I start investing? My institutional rule is this. Once your liquidity buffer, which was bucket 2, hits 10 times your monthly non-negotiable expenses, you stop. You are officially overcapitalized in cash. Every single cent that comes in after that point, 100% of it must be automatically routed to your deployment vehicle to buy assets. No more debating, no more waiting for a dip. If the buffer is at 10x, you buy. This simple threshold takes the emotion out of the equation. It turns you from a saver into an operator. If you found value in this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below, what are your budgeting struggles? If you've watched this far, I hope you've got something out of this. Stay systematic. This is IJ from The Silent Wealth. I'll see you in the next one.